Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 3 of M&A Demystified. In the previous episode, we talked about the why of mergers and acquisitions and how they fit into the overall corporate strategy. In today's episode, we're going to talk about the target screening and search process as well as the initial legal and regulatory considerations. So let's get started. So when does the search process begin? Ideally, once the acquiring company has completed its strategic evaluation and developed its acquisition strategy. The target identification is either done in-house within the company or with the help of external brokers or investment bankers. Within a company, corporate development team is primarily responsible for identification of targets either through internal research or monitoring auction-related news. Sometimes when the business division leaders or executive team may identify targets for further evaluation. If a company is looking for external help, depending on the size of the company, there are several brokers and bankers that are available. A smaller company may go for a local business broker. A lower middle market company may go for an M&A broker. Upper middle market companies and public companies may take the help of investment bankers. The bankers and brokers also play a key role in negotiations as well as raising the necessary debt or equity to finance the transaction. They typically charge a fee of 1 to 5% of the purchase price. Whether the search is conducted in-house or externally, it is important to have an established screening criteria. Screening criteria could be based on like size, geographic area, markets they operate in, products or services, growth or margin of the target, or their manufacturing and other capabilities, etc. Then there are several databases available such as Dun & Bradstreet, S&P Global, Capital IQ, which can be used to screen targets based on the criteria that is established. Once you have screened the targets, the next step is to prioritize them. One way to prioritize would be using a numerical rating. For example, if a particular company fits the size criteria perfectly, then you would give it a 10 rating, and if it doesn't, you give it a 5 rating, and so on. Then you add up the rating for all criteria to come up the overall rating for that particular target company. And once you have a final list of targets identified, then you create profiles for each of those targets. A profile would contain key information such as size, location, management background, ownership structure, the product or service offering, the customers, market, as well as competitor information, kind of a SWOT analysis of that particular target and how it fits into your company. In some cases, you may also include an initial valuation and proposed purchase price. There are several valuation techniques which we will talk about in the next episode. So far, we have talked about target screening and profiling. Let's switch gears a little bit and talk about some of the initial regulatory and legal considerations during a deal. Regulatory considerations are industry specific, but some general ones can be identified. One that comes top of the mind is the antitrust regulation that is in place to protect price fixing and monopolistic practices by the companies. This is especially relevant in horizontal mergers when a company is acquiring its competitor. In those and other cases, companies may require to file and receive clearances from Federal Trade Commission or Department of Justice. While it is rare that deals are entirely blocked by these regulatory bodies, in some cases certain modifications may need to be made to the deals before they can pass. A great example would be US Airways acquisition of American Airlines back in 2012. Department of Justice has opposed to the deal as it could lead to increase in airline fees. However, the deal was later approved when the two airlines agreed to give Discount Airlines additional access to several major US airports. Apart from antitrust regulations, there are several environmental concerns as well that companies need to be aware of. And if a company is public company, then disclosure to shareholders and receiving shareholder approval becomes critical as well. And if the company has foreign operations or foreign subsidiaries, then approval from various foreign governments and European Commission, etc., becomes critical as well. Since getting these approvals could be very time consuming, it is very important to know the regulations that are applicable to your particular industry and to your deal specifically much in advance, so that it would help significantly during the planning process. So today we have talked about target screening, profiling, and some regulatory considerations. In the next episode, we're going to talk about valuation techniques used in determining the purchase price of the company. Till then, have a great week, and thanks so much for tuning in.